Welcome back, you guys. My name is Kane, and it is known by Chicago Bulls and Cleveland Cavaliers fans as The Shot, Michael Jordan's series-clinching jump shot over Craig Ehlo in the first round of the 1989 NBA playoffs was only one shot, but it played a huge role in the future of Michael Jordan's legacy and the future of the late 1980s Bulls and Cavs. There will be some of you guys watching this right now that will know every little detail from that game and the history, but for those that do not know, stick around for the whole video and see if I can refresh your memory about that game. Let's talk about the NBA history leading up to that historic Game 5 moment. In the 1988-1989 NBA season, the Eastern Conference was at the helm of the bad boy Detroit Pistons. The previous year, they went to the NBA Finals, and the next year, Isaiah Thomas led them to the best record in the Eastern Conference with 63 wins. But a young team out in Cleveland, led by Mark Price, jumping from 42 wins in the previous season to 57 in the 1989 year. Cleveland had 4 players who averaged over 17 points per game and ranked as the second best defensive team in the league. They were a balanced team, were the 3rd seed in the East, and looked like a team that could reach the Eastern Conference Finals. The team that the Cavs had to get past in the first round was a young team in Chicago that beat the Cavs in the playoffs the year before. The Bulls were led by a young Michael Jordan, and they were just beginning to mesh into the team that would dominate the NBA in the 1990s. Chicago won 47 games and came in as the 6th seed. But Cleveland dominated the Bulls in the regular season that year. The Cavs went 6-0 against the Bulls, and in the last game of the season, with the Cavs resting some of their starters, the Bulls still lost. At the time, it was a very low point of the season for the Bulls. They just lost to the Cavs bench. Now they have to play them at full strength in the first round of the playoffs. Cleveland was expected to win the series. Even newspapers that covered the Chicago Bulls picked the Cavs to win. The Bulls were dealing with injuries from Scottie Pippen, Craig Hodges, and Horace Grant, and Jordan told the media in the final regular season game that if they can't play any better than this against the Cavs, they will get swept. To motivate their team that was down in the dumpsters, Jordan said that the Bulls will win in 4 games, and when the Bulls took game 1 of the series behind Jordan's 31 points and 11 assists, MJ walked up to 3 different NBA reporters and told the first one, "That one was for you." Jordan told the second one, "That one was for you too," and then told the third writer, "We're going to take care of yours Friday night." One issue for Cleveland was that their all-star point guard Mark Price had gotten a concussion 10 days before the start of the series versus the Bulls and had to miss game 1. Price got elbowed in the head against the Pistons. Not having their starting point guard in the first game of just a 5-game series did not give Cleveland the start they needed in game 1. But Price was back for game 2, and the Cavs took care of business to tie up the series at 1. Game 3, though, was a disaster for Mark Price. He shot 1 of 12 from the field, turned the ball over 4 times. Jordan led all scorers with 44 points, and the Bulls took game 3. Since it was a 5-game series, the Bulls were now 1 win away from going to the second round of the playoffs. It is now game 4, and Jordan had a chance to get his prediction right of Bulls in 4, but the Cavs were not going to go down that easy. They were the second-ranked defensive team and won 57 games for a reason. In front of a loud Chicago Bulls home crowd, neither team could get a large lead on the other, and it was tied at 97-97 in the final minute. Jordan got sent to shoot free throws after a shooting foul, and he was on fire at the foul line that night. He was shooting 18 for 21 at the free throw line up until that point. He missed the first one, then made the second one to put the Bulls up 98-97. The Cavs had a chance to go up by 1, but they turned the ball over and fouled Jordan with 9 seconds left. If Jordan makes these next 2 foul shots, the Bulls are up 3 and have a great shot at winning. But Jordan again split the free throws and only gave the Bulls a 2-point lead. On the next possession, Cavs center Brad Daugherty, who was a 38% free throw shooter from the line in that series, was fouled, and he made both of them surprisingly to tie the game. But the Bulls still had time on the clock and had Michael Jordan on the team to close out the game in front of the home crowd. MJ got a decent look on the baseline, but this miss at the buzzer in the final seconds would be his 3rd missed shot in the final minute. The Cavs controlled the whole overtime period and won 108-105 to to tie the series and go back home for Game 5. Even though Jordan scored 50 points in that Game 4 loss and kept the Bulls in the game the whole night, the story in the papers the next day was his inability to close the game. If the Bulls go on to lose Game 5, Jordan was going to get majority of the blame because he was unable to close out the series in 4. And Jordan felt terrible about not being able to close the game out in 4. In his 1998 autobiography, For the Love of the Game, Jordan says that not finishing the Cavs off in 4 games was as low as he's ever felt about the game of basketball. It reminded him of being cut from the varsity team in high school. Most people remember Craig Ehlo as being the man who is the scapegoat for the Game 5 loss. He's the man who let Jordan rise up on him and make the buzzer-beating shot. But Ehlo was actually the hero for the Cavs that whole night. He scored 24 points off the bench on 9 of 15 shooting. If not for Ehlo's scoring, the Cavs probably lose by 10 points. Ehlo made a strong layup over the top of Jordan with 3 seconds left in the 4th quarter to give the Cavs a 1-point lead. That layup would have been the game-winning shot, but Jordan had one more thing to say in those final seconds. The play before that, Jordan hit a jump shot on the right side of the floor to give the Bulls a 1-point lead. This was an exciting final minute of an elimination game. In the timeout before Michael Jordan's famous shot that would end Cleveland's season, Cavs head coach Lenny Wilkens decided it was best to double team Jordan with Larry Nance helping Ehlo. This was a change in strategy from what the Cavs were doing the entire playoffs against Jordan. Wilkens refused to double Jordan all series and thought it was best to stop everyone else, but let MJ get his points. The Bulls huddle, on the other hand, all had their heads down, kind of frowning in the huddle. Chicago head coach Doug Collins began to say he wanted to pass the ball to Dave Corzine, and that's when Jordan slammed his fist on the clipboard and said, "Give me the effing ball." Collins looked at MJ and designed a play for him to get the pass. As the Bulls break the huddle, Jordan whispers to his teammate Craig Hodges and says, "I'm going to make it." Starting from the right side of the court, Jordan dribbled toward the key and rose up for a jumper inside of the circle. The man who saved Cleveland that entire night, Craig Ehlo, he jumped out to block the shot, but Jordan held in the air until Ehlo was out of his way, then released his shot. The ball rattled in. Jordan pumped his fists in celebration, giving NBA fans one of the greatest highlight plays ever. The 20,000 fans in the arena went silent. As Jordan kept pumping his fists, Cavs coach Lenny Wilkens could hear Jordan yell, go home," to Cavs fans nearby. Jordan actually said he didn't see the shot go all the way in, but he knew it went in right away from the crowd silence, that it was over, and he ended their season. Jordan was the most dominant scorer in the league at the time, but it was that series-clinching jump shot that put Jordan on another level. A Cavs assistant coach said this: "The shot was the one that really put him up in front of everybody." Craig Ehlo says that was the best playoff performance he ever had in his life, but messed up defensively in the final play. Here's what Ehlo had to say about that play. "Instead of being in my defensive slide, I was running up to catch up and challenge. I went up from the side, my hand in his face. He hung for a split second as I flew by." Jordan felt vindicated after the shot. The Cavs crowd had signs that said, "His arrogance." They were calling him out for his missed free throws, and he loved how quiet the crowd was after the game. MJ told the media this: "I was crushed after I missed that free throw in Game 4. Then I came here and got booed in the introductions, and the crowd hand waved me when I was at the free throw line. I heard them tell me it was time to set up my tee times for the summer. I felt I had something to prove." This is another interesting NBA what if. What if Jordan misses that shot at the end? How does that affect his legacy and the future of the Bulls roster? What happens in the Eastern Conference Finals if it was the Cavs versus the Pistons? The Cavs would go from winning 57 games that year to 42 wins the next year, and then 33 wins in the year after that. In the 1992 year, though, they jumped back up to 57 wins and would play the Bulls in the conference finals, but lose. And we all know how it turned out for the Bulls. They would run the 1990s and become a dynasty. Shout out to you if you made it to the end of the video. I hope it was interesting to listen to. I like making NBA stories like this, so if you're still here and have not subscribed yet, I make those type of videos, and if you like those type of videos, definitely think about subscribing. I'm going to try to get a video out by Friday or Saturday, so I'll see you guys then.